Hey guys, it's Calvary32 Special. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight I wanted to record a video. Now this is a couple days previous to what you guys are seeing this, but I wanted to record a video as part of Patriot in the Dark's, blind challenge. So I decided to do my Sig P238. I'm gonna try to do this one take only. Using a bandana as my blindfold. And, well, not my bandana, I'm pretty sure it's my girlfriend. I'm pretty sure it's California Belle's bandana. But it was what I was able to find. Alright. Let's put that right there in front so I can find it when I need it. Okay, blindfolded. Let's get this started. Alright, first, I'm gonna, let's get oriented, so that way we're all looking at, we're all addressing the firearm the same way. I'm gonna start by holding it, in the grip with barrel pointed away from me. Slide up, as if you're getting ready to fire it. From this orientation, I'm going to say the back of the slide is the back of the gun where the hammer is. The muzzle is the front. Right side being my right, left being my left, respectively. Now let's do a quick clear check. On the right hand side of the firearm, you have the on the left side, at the back, you'll feel a lever with, it does click up and down. That is the safety. It has a nice prominent thumb ledge, so you can see that, as you can feel that. About 3/4 inch in front of that, you feel a smaller lever that doesn't seem to want to move down. That is the slide release, and if you feel along, it is actually attached to a longer arm to where the pin goes to the slide. Below that slide release, about 3/8 of an inch, is the magazine release button. I'm going to start with pushing the magazine release. Nothing in there. Insert. I can feel it. Just for good measure, I'm using my pinky because it is a small gun, so I use the pinky for a small finger. Into the magazine well. Confirm. Nothing in the magazine well. Grasping the top of the slide between my thumb and forefinger with an over-the-top lobster grip, an over-the-top lobster grip. I'm gonna pull the slide back, and while holding it back, push up on the slide release, and then gently let the slide go. So now the slide is in the locked back position, which will allow me to use my pinky again to reach in and feel the chamber, which confirmed it is empty. Okay. So now starting on the disassembly, I'm going to take my right hand, put the web of my hand into the beaver tail on the grip, which for the beaver tail is, if you follow the back of the grip up, it curves out, and then just above that is the hammer. The beaver tail is what protects your hand from the hammer during firing. But I'm going to take the gun in my right hand with that web in the beaver tail, with my 4 fingers wrapped over the top of the slide, allowing me to pull on the slide while still keeping the other hand free. Which at this point, I'm going to, with my left hand on the right hand side of the gun, there is, if you slide your hand on the frame underneath the slide, from the muzzle back approximately 3 inches. You'll feel a little nub in that if you push on it, it'll move a little bit back and forth. That is the other side of the that is the takedown pin that is attached to the magazine release. Sorry, the slide release. So with the slide pulled all the way back, you're going to push on that pin and then slowly let it slide forward a little bit, because there is a notch somewhere in the middle where a nub on the slide release actually will slide through the slide out of the slide, allowing you to take that pin down. And it just moved, and it feels like it is about ½ an inch, maybe 5/8 of an inch from the slide being fully forward. And now that that pin is loose, I'm going to pull it out all the way. Just pulls straight out, then gently let the slide down to the lower position so it is fully forward, and then with a gentle pull, now the slide is separated from the frame. I have the frame in my right hand. I'm going to lay it down directly in front of me, grip facing away, just so I know the orientation. I have the slide in my left hand, top of the slide facing up. I'm going to rotate the slide upside down so the top of the slide where the sights are is now down towards the bench. In this orientation, I have the back of the slide in my right hand and the front of the slide with the muzzle in my left. Take your right hand along what is now the inside of the slide. You can slide your finger forward. You feel where you feel the back, find the back of the barrel. Just above that is the lugs that attach to the bottom of the barrel. Well, that is a part of the bottom of the barrel. And just the front of that is where the recoil spring and guide rod is. Be careful, this is not a captured guide rod, meaning the spring and guide rod are two separate pieces. Now that we have that point located, I'm going to hold the slide in my right hand, take my left hand to to that nub, where I can feel the back of the guide rod. Generally, I find it's easier to place my palm against the muzzle. I can use my fingertips to pull on the guide rod. Gives me a little bit of a counter pull capability. You pull the guide rod towards the muzzle or towards your palm. As it compresses the spring, then you'll be able to lift the guide rod up a little bit and it all comes out. The spring tension will try to cause this to fly away if you're not careful, so be very careful not to lose that. And also, the guide rod and the spring are two separate pieces. I'm going to take them apart just for the sake of what we're doing. Set it down where I can easily find them, right next to the slide lock, right next to the slide lock / takedown pin. Now the barrel fits loose, which to get it out, I take a hold of the lugs with my right hand with the slide in my left. I push the barrel slightly forward towards the muzzle, and you'll feel it resists a little bit because you have to lift tiny amount as you do that. The barrel will pop out of place and slide forward. It is now free. You can lift the back of it up and pull towards the rear of the slide, and the barrel will come out of the slide. Now the gun is fully disassembled. I'm going to cheat for just a second, pull my eyes off, and pull my blindfold off so I can reposition the camera slightly so you can see the parts. Okay. You can see there, I have my parts arrayed in front of me. And now I'm going to put the blindfold back on for reassembly. Sorry, that's for my normal overhead camera rig is not operational at the moment, so I'm having to do this on my phone. So otherwise I would do this without taking the blindfold off at all. Okay, blindfold back on, can't see anything. So now I can reset and start the reassembly. Start, picking up the slide, back of the slide to the right hand, left of the, no, muzzle of the slide to the left hand. You want to find your barrel. You got the lugs facing up, muzzle, towards the left hand. You want to take the barrel, feed it down into the slide, so that the barrel goes out the muzzle of the slide, the front of the slide, until it drops all the way in, and then pull back slightly, and you hear that? It fell back into where it's supposed to be, click back into the slide. Now is the spring here, and the guide rod here. I'm going to set the slide down temporarily, so I can use both hands and put the spring back onto the guide rod. So that's back together. There is, on the guide rod, you'll notice there is a concave section, which is the part that arcs inward, and a convex, which is the part that arcs outward. The convex will be the outside, the concave is what will go towards the barrel. The spring end is loose. If you now pick up your slide again, just down next to the muzzle, you'll notice part of the slide has a protrusion that sticks out farther than the rest of the bottom of the slide does. That is a pocket. Your recoil spring goes into that pocket, and carefully, to keep from tweaking that spring, you want to compress it, so that way you can then move the guide rod forward and then push it. Once the head of the guide rod is in front of the recoil, in front of the lugs on the barrel, you push it down, so that way it locks into the lugs between the barrel lugs and the pocket of the receiver. Sorry, not receiver, the slide. Pocket of the slide. So that piece is in. Now I need the frame again. So I'm going to take the slide, roll it back over so the sights are to the up again. You find the front of the frame, feel along the top of it. You'll notice about 2 inches back, you'll feel a protrusion. If you feel it actually has lips on it, those are where the slide actually rides. That's and that is where you have to, there will be grooves on the bottom of the slide. So you want to take the slide, put it down so it's touching the top of the frame, gently work it back so that it will slide over top of those lips. And by taking the back of the slide and literally just setting it on the frame and using your fingers, you can, so that half your finger is, half your forefinger and half of your thumb are on the slide, and closer to the knuckle. The lower portion, the tips of your fingers, are actually touching the frame. You can center the slide on the frame pretty well, making this operation a little easier. And that's where it should be locked together. Back, before you slide all the way back, the hammer is on the rear portion, as we said before, right above the, pulling a blank, right above the beaver tail. You find the hammer. Just in front of the hammer, you'll notice a small arc-shaped protrusion that sticks up above the frame. It's a flat metal tab that will need to be compressed down. If you push on it, you'll notice it folds away pretty easily. You'll need to push that down as you push your slide back, so that way your slide goes all the way into place. So once you've done that, it goes back and it'll hit, before you start getting spring tension, you'll notice everything is nicely located. Now, your takedown pin / slide release. You'll feel the pin, you'll feel the arm, and the shelf that you pressed on earlier. If you notice, you feel just behind the shelf is a little nub that sticks up. It protrudes in the same direction as the takedown pin. That nub actually has a corresponding hole in the slide that it actually goes through that allows it to go all the way in. So you take, run your finger along the slide, and just in front of the, maybe 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch in front of the trigger, to give you a point of reference, you'll find a hole in the slide. That's the same size as the takedown pin. Now take your takedown pin, slide that hole, slide into that hole just enough to get started. Now, holding as you did for the disassembly, in your right hand, the web of your hand and the beaver tail, with your 4 fingers over the top, you're going to want to start to pull back. Oh, there we go. Pull back on the slide. And you'll notice, as I did that, you heard a click. That was as everything lined up, the takedown pin slid into place. Keep pulling the slide back, and now you're looking for the groove. I went too far. A little farther forward. Guessing probably about that 3/4 inch mark that we found before. So you can feel the front of using your left hand that would be holding the slide release, you can kind of feel that out, see what you find. Not easy to do without being able to see it. And okay, there. It took me, riding the slide back and forth a couple times, but once the proper groove lined up with the nub, proper groove on the slide lined up with the nub of the takedown pin / slide release, it slid right into place. Now, let the slide go. It's locked in. Function test. All reassembled. I'm going to take the, one last time. Lock the slide open. Double check unloaded. And done. I hope you can see that. Not an easy puzzle, not as easy as some of the other designs to take down. The design of this, being a Sig P238, is a baby 1911, I guess you could say. If you feel it and compare it to a Colt 1911, you'll notice a lot of similarities, including the how the takedown pins work, exposed hammer, sights, grip angle, all that good stuff. Anyhow, guys, appreciate you stopping by. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, UGETube, Gunstreamer. Most importantly is GunTube and gunchannels.com. On guntube.org, and the .org is important, and gunchannels.com. I do have a Patreon account, Patreon /Calverus32 Special. Also, with how many channels have taken taken strikes recently, and not all of them being explainable, I decided to create a B channel. Nicknames from from some of the guys on gun channels. I got Tactical Pickle and the California Cucumber. Unfortunately, both of those were already taken as channel names. Who'd have thunk it? So I ended up coming up with Tactical Bullfrog. I'll explain that one in another video. Anyhow, if you care to, you can go over there and sub that one as well. So that way, if this channel for some reason has an issue, you can look over there for information. I'll throw some of my older videos up there just so there's some content on it. Anyhow, guys, I appreciate you stopping by the channel. Have a wonderful night.